the history dates back to 7th century AD by the dynasty called Pallava.
Yeah.
And the Pallava began with temple architecture and the stone sculptures, and they were trying to carve out of all these stones around this area. And this was the second capital of Pallava. Pallava's capital is Kanchipuram, and this was also a trading port, sea trading port. And they began with many different sculpture here, and some of the sculptures about the temple and the temple architecture. Here they have begun with bas-relief sculpture. Bas-relief sculptures are very difficult to carve out of this rock because it's 3D, three-dimensional, and like all the sculptures should emboss. There are 150 sculptures carved out of this adjoint rock, and the middle part, they've always taken a Hindu mythologies to experiment their sculpturing power, and the middle part they've done it like a river Ganges, which is the river of paradise to India. So the river Ganges, and in the top they're all celestials and angels, and when it is coming down there's a temple and the humans. Some of the heads are missing because of vandalism, and the other side is a jungle with elephants. So this is carved out of this panel, which is the largest bas-relief sculpture in the world. Wow. And also there's a cave carved scoop there, and the cave is they've not done anything inside the cave. It's only outer part they've just done it beautifully. You can see the monkeys are cleaning the
Each other,
yeah. The baby monkey and mother and the father. And that's a little beautiful, interesting map of Mamallapuram. You can see the hotel which we are staying, which is said that tourist lodge up there. From there we just come, and we are in the middle area, and then we are going to go to 5 rathas down south there, southern one, and then come back to the shore temple.
Okay.
Temple architecture for the Indians, South Indians, it's not new. It was already existing, but still in this area the dynasty was like experimenting a new temple architecture. So they've been experimenting existing temple architecture and the new ones. Cave temple was already existing, but still they've made a cave temple here. There are beautiful bas-relief inside the cave, but the inner sanctum is empty. There is no deity inside, so which is not used. This is not a living temple or a used temple. It's just a monument now, and they were doing experiment. They just made this to create a temple architecture, how to make a temple. This is a Vishnu cave in Hindu gods, Shiva and Vishnu. And this is a cave of Vishnu. There are many Vishnu sculptures carved here. Please. We have some of this beautiful Vishnu's incarnation. Vishnu has gotten 10 different incarnations in the Vishnu stories. These are the incarnation stories carved here in, and also the goddesses, wife consort of Vishnu, was called Lakshmi, the goddesses of wealth. And on the other side, there is another story of Vishnu's incarnation. And this cave was painted beautifully during 8th century AD, and all the colors are gone. Now we can see a little color.
Right, reds and blues.
Yes. And in one of the temple in Kanchipuram, the capital of the same dynasty, Pallava, I'm going to show you some paintings. And here, this one is very interesting. This is some goddesses on the war field. They're worshipping these goddesses on the war field. And you can find a black magic happening here. And this man trying to kill himself. He's trying to sacrifice his own head. Now, it's a kind of black magic which was happening in the war fields. These lions are called yalis, and in Madurai temple you would have seen the big ones, sometimes with the elephant trunk.
Right.
So they are called yalis, which was started by in this region. Actually, the dynasty's symbol was lion, but it's a very big question whether there is lions here or not. So it's some kind of imagination. That's why like the lions has gotten horns like a goats.
Right.
Sometimes crocodile teeth, and sometimes elephant trunk to the lions. So it has become a mythical animal.
Right.
There's a few hawkers trying to sell their wares to you as you're walking down. Trying to sell them a book now and then. There's a small handball that was a carving out of granite as well.
Granite. The whole thing is one piece of granite.
Right.
They've just cut the granite and sculpted it like a temple. So this is a rock cut temple, where this is the only place given to the local people for their worship.
Okay.
Because normally all this site, the entire site of Mamallapuram, become a monument where there is nothing was used as a living temple except show temple. We are going there. But here, the local people requested with the archaeological department to give a little area for their worship. So this area was allowed, and they have a Ganesh inside, and the local people come here and do their rituals in there.
Was this painted at some time?
Exactly, it was painted during 8th century, 1300 years ago. This was painted because of weather. All the paints are gone and no one is caring about.
Right, you can just sort of see in some spots.
Yes, in Kanchipuram we can see some of the color.
This must be a 100-ton piece of granite. They're not quite sure how it's there, but you can see underneath the goats and everything else, it's just freestanding, and nobody knows how it got there, but it's there. Huge thing.
They've tried to pull the rock with the help of elephants, 7 elephants, and to make more carving. They couldn't make it. So that's a local story. We didn't know how far it is true, but still, which is there for a long time, and the archaeologists said that it should be there more than 1 million years.
Wow, because this must have been much higher
Yes.
for that to be
Yes.
to come from somewhere.
And moreover, we don't have big earthquake in in southern part of India, so that saves them.
That's a
Saves
good
the rock.
thing. The rock again.
Yes. There's a lot of sculptures now. When the British archaeologists came here, this was the place when they came, and they just saw these sculptures, the temple buried under the sand. You can see the ground level half the way. It was half the way buried under the sand, and then a lot of trees and bushes. So the British thought it's a wooden chariots, which in most of the temples, Hindu temples, they have a huge wooden chariots, and they named it as a 5 chariots. When they go closer and saw, and it was carved out of rock, and they were really amazed to see this sculptures, and then they started to experiment with the history and what happened here. And the British found the history during 1880s, and this was carved between 630 to 660 AD, which is almost 1400 years ago. And there was a school here, the sculpture school. They were graduating the sculptures here and also trying to create a new temple architecture. So there are different temples. You can see the temples are different from each other. And except the second one and the last one look similar.
Right.
You know, that is a typical style of this dynasty called Pallava, and they named it as a Pallava architecture. Later, South Indian architecture called Dravidian architecture derived from this. So where we have 2 races in India, one is North Indians are called Aryans, like Aryans, and South Indians are called Dravidians. Dravidians, this is Dravidian architecture, the second one and the last one. Almost all the temples you saw, even in Tanjore and Madurai, this is the base.
Okay.
It comes from here.
From this.
From this.
Then it's grown
Yes.
to every other temple.
Every other temple. So Dravidian architecture was introduced by this dynasty Pallava, because before 7th century they were using mud and bricks and wood to build the temples.
Right.
After 6th and 7th century they're using granite to build temples.
This is an incomplete monument, as we've just been told by our guide, and the items would have started in this form, just boulders, and then they would have carved from the top all the way down to create these beautiful, magnificent pieces of architecture. Just absolutely fabulous. And we'll just go inside now and we'll take you around there. This elephant is actually life-size. Just out of one piece of granite, rock, just like the other one. He said the English found this as they were excavating and looking around to build a channel for water. They came across this place, and you can see in the background there how high the land is, and then they dug down some I don't know, 10, 12 feet to find these particular things, and they were all overgrown. And it's early in the morning, and we've got lots of Indian tourists here because it's a monument that's quite famous throughout southern India. I'll just go over and see what the guys are talking about.
Of course, Kerala is a big hit, like everyone knows. But the Kerala also is a big tourist.
Yeah. And we didn't want to go there either.
Like it is,
I mean, even though I know I'm a travel agent, but this was our holiday.
Here we are inside the rock. It's said that some of these things were built just to see if they could actually build larger temples, digging it out from the rock. And that's why they're not really that ornate in the middle, as we'll see, I think, later on in our tour.
Kerala 3 nights.
Yeah.
And do Kerala a little bit. And from there fly to Bangalore and go to Mysore.
Right.
And do Mysore and around for 3 days. And then finish up from Bangalore, they can fly out. It's perfect itinerary for 10 days.
Yeah, our guide's talking about just some of the different types of
things,
places.
Like little
Yeah.
itineraries.
Yeah.
And look at this. Look at the elephant. It's a life-size elephant of
He is.
7th century, 1400 years ago. That was the size of an elephant. Unfortunately, we lost the tusk of elephant, which is, like carved out of the rock. And the temple next to the elephant is copied from the elephant. So it looked like elephant. You can see the elephant style temple. So that's why they carved the elephant here. It's an elephant style temple. And here, this is a huge piece of block of granite. Huge block of granite. The entire granite is carved as a temple, which this temple model was copied from Ajanta caves from Buddhist architecture. So this is a Buddhist style temple, and here they've never mentioned these temples as a Hindu temple or Buddhist temple or Jain temple. We had 3 major religions in those days, but never mentioned any religion in this temple. This was just an art school where experimenting their art skills. You know what tree is this?
Tamarind?
No.
That's the
Neem tree.
neem. That's
tree.
right. Neem tree.
Neem tree. Neem has got an antibiotic and antibacterial. So, which is the biggest medicinal tree in the southern part of India, which is a native to India.
We were told to get some oil of neem.
Neem. You could find some in the shop.
Yeah.
And the people in the villages, they take a neem branch and they brush the teeth, like use it like a brush. It doesn't need any toothpaste, because basically the gum, which is so strong, and it kills all the bacteria, and it's hard taste. Of course, it's bittery.
Some of the stores on the street were selling this.
Right.
Yeah.
Make it like a temple and a cave, and try to install some statue of a god deity inside the temple, but which is missing because of war. They stopped the work, and also the cupolas, the little stones, look like a ball, which is lying down there. It's supposed to go to the top.
Oh, okay.
So they have missed it because they have not done it because of the war. It was stopped. Yeah, right there. There's a dupe.
We're here maybe 8 o'clock in the morning, and our guide was just saying that a bit later on there might be 1,000 people here, so we're fortunate that we're not here later and able to see all of this. Just beautiful stuff carved out of single pieces of granite, just like over there, those big lumps of stuff. So I guess what they do, they look at it and say, what can I put out of that? And there we go. But this was a training school, that he said, where people would come and learn their art, and then they'd move around and start to build temples, etc., just like any school in the 17th century. Oh man, yep, beautiful.